You just finished the hard set, and then you look at your timer. Wow, it's already been 45 seconds? How is that even possible? But the timer goes off, so you start the next set anyways. This time, the weight feels way heavier. You get fewer reps. Now you're wondering if you somehow got weaker in the last minute. You probably didn't. You might just need more rest. So how long should you actually wait between sets? Is 1 minute enough? Should you be waiting 3 minutes? And at what point are you no longer resting and basically just living in the gym? In this video, I'm going to give you some useful starting points, but more importantly, I'll show you how to tell if you're ready for your next set. Here's a simple answer. The more performance you need from your next set, the longer you'll actually need to rest. Think about a heavy set of squats. You need a lot from your body to do that again. Now compare that with a set of lateral raises. You'll probably recover from the lateral raises a lot faster. If you need 5 minutes after them, those lateral raises may have become a personal crisis. So the right rest time depends on what you're doing. It also depends on what you're trying to improve. If the goal is strength, you'll usually rest longer. If the goal is muscular endurance, the rest is usually shorter. For muscle growth, you're somewhere in between. The mistake is looking for one number that works for every set. There isn't one. So you may be wondering, well, what are you actually waiting for? After a hard set, your body can't immediately repeat the same performance. One reason is that you've used some of your phospho-creatine. And that is an energy source your muscle rely on when they need to produce a lot of force quickly. Your body starts restoring it as soon as the set ends. But that takes time. Your breathing also needs a chance to settle down as well. And the muscle you just trained needs to recover enough to work hard again. I like to think of it like charging your phone. If you plug it in for 30 seconds, technically it charged, but you're still not leaving the house with 1%. A longer rest gives you more of that battery back. You won't feel completely fresh, but you should be more prepared for the next set. So rest isn't wasted time. The rest is what allows the next set to be productive. That means sitting on a bench and staring at the floor can technically be a good part of a workout. Now, if your main goal is strength, start with around 2 to 5 minutes between hard sets. For a heavy compound exercise, I usually lean towards the longer end of that range. So after a hard squat, you might need 3 minutes. You might need 4, sometimes 5 makes sense. That can feel like a long time, but the goal of a strength set isn't to prove how tired you can get. The goal is to produce a lot of force. If you begin the next set while you're still exhausted, the weight is probably going to move slower. You may also get fewer reps than you planned. And if you're really fatigued, your form may start looking like a completely different exercise. There's research that supports taking more time here. In one study, resistance-trained men rested either 1 or 3 minutes between sets. The group that rested for 3 minutes improved their squats more. They also made better progress on bench press. Interestingly, they saw more growth in the front of the thighs too. Now, that doesn't mean 3 minutes is a magic number. It just shows what can happen when a short rest keeps you from doing enough quality work. Power training follows a similar idea. If you're doing jumps or another explosive movement, the whole point is to move fast. Once you're too tired to do that, the exercise starts becoming something else. You're no longer training the same level of explosiveness. For that reason, 3 to 5 minutes can make sense between demanding power sets. Watch the quality of the movement. If your jump height has clearly dropped, take more time. For power training, feeling tired isn't the target. Moving well is. Now let's get to the part most people are probably wondering about. What if you're training to build muscle? For a long time, short rest periods were treated like the obvious answer. The idea makes sense on the surface. Short rest gives you a bigger pump. It also creates more of that burning feeling. And because the set feels harder, it's easy to assume it must be doing more. But harder doesn't always mean better. I could make your curls harder by asking you to do them on one leg. That doesn't make it a better bicep exercise. It just makes balance your new problem. A 2024 meta-analysis looked at how rest periods affect muscle growth. People were able to build muscle with many different rest times. However, resting longer than 60 seconds appeared to have a small advantage over very short rest. The analysis didn't show a clear average benefit from pushing rest far beyond about 90 seconds. But this is where context matters. That does not mean everyone should start every set at exactly 90 seconds. After curls, that might be plenty. But after a difficult set of squats, it may not be. The real benefit of resting longer is simple. You can usually do more in the next set. Let's say you're doing 3 sets with the same weight. On the first set, you get 10 reps. Then you rest for 30 seconds. The second set drops to 7. And on the third set, you only get 5. Now, let's say you give yourself more time. You get 10 reps on the first set, then 9, then 8. In that second workout, you did more productive work with the same exercise. That's probably more useful than chasing the biggest possible burn. Now, your reps don't have to stay perfectly even. Some drop off is normal when you're training hard. But if your performance falls off a cliff after the first set, look at your rest time. For most muscle building exercises, I start somewhere between 1 and 2 minutes. For demanding compound movement, try 2 to 3 minutes. For smaller isolation exercise, you may only need 45 to 90 seconds of rest. Muscular endurance is different. Here, working while you're still tired is part of the point. You're trying to keep producing effort without fully recovering. That's why shorter rests make sense here. Around 20 to 60 seconds can work well, depending on the workout. You might use that in a bodyweight circuit. You could also use it during higher rep resistance training. In this type of training, some drop in performance is expected. The fatigue is part of what you're training yourself to tolerate. So yes, the suffering is a little more intentional here. Just don't take that rule and apply it to every workout. Not every gym session needs to become a race against the clock. The ranges I've given you are useful, but they're not fixed. The exercise matters. A squat will usually need more recovery than a curl. The difficulty of the set matters too. A warm-up set probably won't take much out of you. A working set taken close to a failure is a different story. Your training experience can also make a difference. Someone who has trained for years may be able to use much heavier weights. That can create more fatigue, so they may need more time before repeating the set. Tempo can change things as well. If you slow every rep down, the set may create more local fatigue. Even if the weight hasn't changed, you may need a little long. Even if the weight hasn't changed, you may need a 60 seconds after wrist curls might feel generous. But 60 seconds after heavy squats can feel like the timer has something against you personally. So how do you know when you're actually ready? Before your next set, ask yourself one question. Can I still do the set the way I planned? Let's make that more practical. Can you still reach the rep range you were aiming for? If yes, that's a good sign. Can you do those reps with solid technique? If yes, that's another good sign. Now think about the effort. If you plan to stop with 2 reps left, does it still feel like that? Or has the same weight suddenly turned into an all-out set? Here's an example. Your plan is 3 sets of 8 with about 2 reps in reserve. You get 8 reps on the first set, the second set is another 8. On the last set, you get 7 good reps. That looks pretty stable. Now imagine you get 8 reps on that first set, then 6, and then 4. And those last 4 looks rough. Then your rest may be too short. The weight could also be too heavy. The rest is one of the easiest things to test. Next time, add another 30 seconds. See what happens. If the later sets improve, you probably found the issue. Use the timer as a guide. It's not a command. If it says 90 seconds and you're still seeing stars after squats, you're allowed to wait. The timer will forgive you. What if you don't have much time? Of course, longer rest comes with one obvious problem. Your workout takes longer. If you only have 45 minutes, you probably don't want to sit for 3 to 4 minutes after each exercise. This is where supersets can help. You can train one muscle while another one recovers. For example, you could do a set of bicep curls, then you could train your triceps after. After that, you go back to the curls. That saves time without making the same muscle work again right away. I use this more with accessory exercises. For your main strength exercise, take the rest you actually need. After a heavy squat, you don't need to immediately start doing jump lunges just to stay productive. Surviving the squat was productive enough. And yes, you can check your phone between sets, but just remember that scrolling through Instagram is not technically a superset. So here are the starting points I use. For heavy strength work, start with 2 to 5 minutes. For explosive power work, 3 to 5 minutes is a reasonable range. For most muscle building exercises, start with 1 to 2 minutes. If it's a demanding compound exercise, give yourself 2 to 3 minutes. For smaller isolation movement, 45 to 90 seconds may be enough. And for muscular endurance, start somewhere between 20 to 60 seconds. Again, these aren't rules, they're starting points. Pay attention to what happens in the next set. If your performance keeps dropping badly, try more rest. If you feel ready and the set goes as planned, your current rest is probably fine. So, to answer how long should you really rest between sets? Well, long enough to do the next set properly. If you're training for strength, that usually means taking more time. If you're training for muscular endurance, you'll usually start again sooner. If you're trying to build muscle, don't rush just because a short rest feels harder. Give yourself enough time to make the next set count. In your next workout, pay attention to the exercise where your reps drops the most. Add 30 seconds of rest and see if it helps. You might find that the problem wasn't your strength, you were just starting too soon. And let me know in the comments, do you actually take time to rest? And you can let me know on any other topics that you would like to know in the next video. And again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.